Declaration. My name is AJ, aka Ahmed Jr. Al-Shihabi. I am asserting my individual sovereign estate pursuant to Section 92 of the BNA Act 1867. And this is my video testimony as to the what happened on the 12th of February 2025. Basically, we were approached by an RCMP who had received a call regarding a suspicious vehicle on the side of the road. No problem. I salute the officers for, their duty and their service. So that's not the issue here. The issue is there's a clear violation of my natural rights and freedom as safeguarded by the Constitution of 1982, Section 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, right? And also you can add to that 15. So I'm not here to school you on basic laws and hierarchy and order. So now the officer approached us, and he knocks on the window 3:30 in the morning, and suddenly I produce my passport, and the guy's surprised, like, what is this? It's the first time he sees a Canadian passport. So he tells me, do you have an ID? I'm like, yeah, well, I gave him my ID, that's my passport. So he insisted I give him a driver license, so I produced my driver license. But again, I had no reason, to produce my driver license. The car is stationary, we're immobile, we are sleeping in the car, right? So now he proceeds on to take my driver license. He goes, and a few minutes later he comes back, and allegedly I have a suspended driver license, which I did not know. I left Ottawa on the 16th of January following my unlawful detainment at the Montfort Hospital, allegedly for some medical reasons, which I did not consent to. I can speak of that, but this is not the point. The point is, I came to Alberta. I have a zero criminal record. I have nothing on me. The Ontario government and the Ministry of Transportation unilaterally have revoked and suspended my driver license, which I have just recently renewed on the 6th of September 2024. So here I am. Suddenly, I'm told that my driver license has been suspended indefinitely. So I have a case before the Supreme Court of Canada. So I came to Alberta to basically escape the tyranny and the oppression and the prejudice, discriminatory bias, defamation, and it's just it's inhumane treatment. I've been subject to all of these just maybe because of the way I look, right? I'm a Canadian citizen. Last I checked, one citizenship is the same for everybody. I've been here for 25 years. I've been natural citizen since 2003. I came here in 1999 with my family. We immigrated from Damascus, Syria. I am indigenous Palestinian, born refugee in the city of Damascus. I celebrated my 15th birthday here in Canada. I went to high school, I went to university, I finished aerospace electronic system design engineering, and I went on to work in the high-tech, industry and startup world. I have over 12 years of experience, over a decade. I have my own business, 613 Solar, and I have my own business, right, where I am trying to educate Canadians. And, we have here the Premier of Alberta, no other than Miss Danielle Smith, fighting for Albertans about, regarding net zero. Scam. That's right, scam. So my issue is not, because I'm against the fact that I got questioned by the RCMP as to why the vehicle is on the road. I was on my way to Brooks, but I don't want to drive when it's too late. It was 3:30 in the morning. I had stopped, a few hours before that to just get some rest. And in the morning, I would go about my trip with my brother, my friend Abdul Hamid, who is also a indigenous Syrian government-sponsored refugee who has been in the country for 2 years. And the government of Canada is now also trampling on his natural rights and freedom. So I'm speaking on myself and my brother's behalf. So before you know it, the car is now impounded, and suddenly there's a courtesy ride. Now the officers tells me, and he advised me, there's a bench warrant against you in Ottawa, in Ontario. Well, no shit, because I have my court case before the court in Ottawa, which I have been for months, right, since the August 24th when the incidents first took place. For months, I have been, requesting that my matter, be transferred to the Superior Court of Justice in Ontario, because I did not consent to the charges in the first place, right? So they had me detained and arrested without a just cause. I was released the first 2 times on surety, but the third time I was released without any surety, without any bail conditions, right? Because I was self-represented. And the first 2 times I wanted to be self-represented, but nobody would take me serious. The third time, before I was released from Ottawa Detention Center, basically, they pulled this trick out of a rabbit hat, the Crown Prosecutor, Miss Morrison, that, somehow I was mentally unfit for trial. Why? Because I know my rights and freedom. I know my I know my rights and responsibility as a law-abiding citizen. So suddenly she pulls this trick out of a rabbit hat that I was medically unfit for trial. So okay, in the law as well, there's something called NCR, which stands for non-criminally responsible. So if you had me in jail for some bullshit reasons, criminal allegations before the court, well, now you are bringing the argument that I am somehow mentally, there's some medical condition with me mentally unfit. Well, the onus is on you. So they try to now impose their unjust psychiatric assessment on me. So I told the psychiatrist at the time at the courthouse that he had no consent. He does not have my consent to basically assess anything. I have zero health record, so to speak. I'm just a natural person, So go upstairs to the courthouse, and it was a staged court theater because the judge wearing, a red sash, that is, must have been a lawyer with 10 years minimum of experience before he is appointed by a senior judge. But suddenly the judge does not know what Section 92 of the BNA Act 1867 mean. He has no jurisdiction. That's right, he had no jurisdiction. Suddenly I am told to come back the next day, and the following day I was released without bail, without anything, by a justice of the peace who does not have to be a lawyer. So why is it that the justice of the peace understands the law and applies the law? The rule of the law is very clear. I am innocent until proven guilty, and I have yet to receive my disclosure from Ottawa for otherwise 5 criminal charges. So, on the 18th of December, I found myself, illegally trafficked and transferred from Alfredtown in Ottawa, where I was visiting my godmother and my godfather, simply because I went on foot. Right? I went on foot, barefoot. It was a beautiful day, mild, and welcome to Canada. We do have snow. Suddenly, my godfather and my godmother, they were concerned about my well-being, so they call the cops, and before you know it, OPP are dispatched. They come to look for me. I was under a tree chanting hallelujah. That's right. And then the schmuck OPP officers, I told them, you have no consent. I do not want to go with you. But they did not care. They proceeded to handcuff me and basically, put me in the back of the cruiser. They had talked to my father, who had consented for their basically transfer to my hospital. By law, the cops can only have up to 72 hours to keep you at the hospital. The reason being, if you were going to police custody, it's 24 hours because there's no amenities. You must be transferred to another detention center. But in the case of a hospital, you have up to 72 hours where, at least there are bed, there are amenities, there are care. And that's why it's up to 72 hours. Now, my father, he is in breach of trust. He had authorized unlawfully, without my consent, that they keep me in the hospital for the next 2 weeks. I was there for 3 weeks, right? And I had contested the fact that they were trying to have me in an incapacitated wing. It's basically a cell block. It's a cell block at the hospital. But this is what happened. I was handcuffed when I was arrived to the hospital. I did not consent to my transfer to the Montfort Hospital. It's a French hospital. I want to go to the Ottawa Hospital. And then they stripped me naked. That's right. They stripped me naked and they shoved 2 needles up my butt. That's right. Out against my will, outside my consent. I did not consent to that treatment. Inhumane. Last time I checked, we were in Canada. You have no consent. So I woke up the next day on the 19th of December, and I am in the cell block incapacitated for the next 3 weeks or so, from the 18th of December when I was first transferred to the Montfort Hospital all the way to the 14th of January. I was released, right? They gave me no paper except for the fact that I received my belonging, but they missed my clothing. They did not give me my clothes because they had to cut the string. They could not strip me. They had to cut the string. I don't wear belts. I was wearing a string to tie my waist. Anyways, so that's what happens. I left on the 14th. I leave the hospital. I go to the airport. I grab a car, right? My driver license was, for all I know, was valid because I had just renewed it on the September the 6th, right, of 2024. So I pick up the car. I figured, you know what? I'm a businessman. Ottawa's not my city anymore. It used to be my hometown, but it's been infiltrated. It's unsafe. The reason why I was taken to jail because my father had revoked surety on the 3rd of December. I was at the Tim Horton where I essentially was trying to report illegal activities. I was suspicious of illegal activities by some illegals. Before you know it, the cops shows up and I was taken to custody. But for 9 days, I'm going back and forth to the courthouse. And then finally on the 12th of December, I was released without any bail conditions, without any surety, nothing. So now on the 18th of December, I had my court appearance to simply make sure and confirm the recipient of my otherwise disclosure for 5 allegation before the court. Before you know it, I was taken to the hospital, to the Montfort Hospital, and they tried to impose their bullshit on me. So I do not consent to that, and you know what? I figured it's better just to leave the city. There's no reason. Now I have a Supreme Court of Canada application pending. 600 people apply for the Supreme Court of Canada, only 10%, so 60 people or so gets through. My application got accepted on the spot on the 18th of December before I was taken to the Morford Hospital later on in the evening. So I know my laws, I know my rights and responsibility as a law-abiding citizen, and there will be a lawsuit. So right now, the Oktokos RCMP are in breach of trust. They are in violation of my natural rights and freedom, which are safeguarded by the Constitution. Part 1, Section 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. You name it. Like, there's not a single trick in the book, because there's corporate law and there is natural law. So maritime laws, the corporation of Canada, so to speak, it's corporate maritime law. I'm a natural person. My rights supersedes your bullshit, right? The fact that I was driving allegedly with a suspended driver license does not suddenly, cause me to lose the ability to drive. I drove from Ottawa all the way to Calgary, and I put just as much. The distance from Ottawa to Calgary is about 3,500 kilometers, and I just put as much on that between Edmonton and Calgary area. So if I was unable to drive, I would have been already I would not even be able to make it here. I drove in the midst of the winter. They gave me a car. It was all season. No problem. I can drive. I know what to do as to operate the vehicle safe and sound. It's not the ID that is driving. It's the person who's driving. So basically this would happen, and that's my testimony as to what happened. So I'm not upset because the RCMP came and they questioned me. I'm upset because they broke the law. Which law? The Constitution, right? The supreme law of the land, 1982. But you can go back to that, right? 1867, Section 92 BNA. Basically, the Section 92 of the BNA Act, 1867, allows me as a Canadian citizen to assert my, jurisdiction, my sovereign estate. That's what's called the ID, independent or individual state. So that's my individual sovereign estate. Section 92 of the Act, because this is the holy, right? This is my temple. So the body, the mind, and the will. That's why you always have a choice. You have a choice. You always have the choice. You have no reason to come at me with your bullshit laws, not because I don't consent to them. It's because they were applied unlawfully. I told you I did not know it was suspended. You know that. You came and told me that basically the suspension was in effect on the January the 19th. I left the hospital on the 14th of January. So why is my driver license suspended? So again, you took the car. Great. The car is not mine. No problem. But I need my property. I'm here as a businessman, entrepreneur. I'm here for energy, to give people energy. All right? Sand, no consumable, no carbon. So let's do business. Walaikum assalam. So this is what happened basically, and I am essentially calling on the right justice, right? Because justice is a question of the law, is a question of the facts, not wishful thinking, not he said, she said. I have all the evidence. I'm the body. I was tasered by no other than the auto police. I was tasered, almost died. Of course I'll be agitated. I was separated from my child. Of course I'll be agitated. Because there's no justice. When I try to speak, they tried to basically come up with this bullshit that I was mentally incapacitated because I just know too much. I'm an aerospace electronic system design engineer with over 10 years of experience. I know my rights, my responsibility as a citizen, law-abiding citizen. I have a zero criminal record. So the crown prosecutor in Ottawa, right, their primary ground to keep me incarcerated for 30 days. So I was stopped on the 25th of August. For 30 days, they want to keep me incarcerated without a just cause. I called for a judge. Habeas corpus, Section 10 of the Constitution, Section 10C. They had nobody. What bullshit is that? There's judges every day in the court. There's a judge on the court every day of the week, including long weekends. Suddenly, I'm not allowed to see a judge. They try to cook this deal with the crown prosecutor, the duty counsel, which I have not consented for.